All right. So the time is 9:07, and I'm going to record this video real quick before class starts. So today we're going to be looking at something called the Intertwine feature. All right, we're going to look at this in the idea of text, right? So we're going to manipulate some text to create this kind of function, right? So let's go and hop over to Adobe Illustrator, right? Again, we're in our normal basic size here. I'm going to create a text. Okay, I am going to go with my last name to start. I'm going to go with something just nice and bold, easy. Anton is a good text to kind of start with. So just trying to align this center and there. Okay, right click, create outlines, boom. Okay, another text layer. I'm going to put my first name. Okay. But this one I'm going to change to a font called the Youngest. For me, this one's going to work the best because it's a nice, wide, like kind of script font that will be able to kind of see across our medium here, right? So I'm going to make it bigger and longer than my text here. I'm just playing around with it for personal preference. Okay, so now what I need to pick my colors here, right? So I'm going to go with something of this red here. I think I'll leave that black. And then I'm going to put my background. I would suggest doing it somewhat in this order so that you don't kind of lose kind of your spot on what you're doing here, right? So I would take this and I would send it to the back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and lock this in my layers so that I don't mess with it anymore. Okay, then I need to take my text here and I'm going to create outlines for this top one here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to merge that together with my Pathfinder tool. Okay, just so it kind of gets rid of some layers that I don't need. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these two and I'm going to go to Object, Intertwine. Go to Make. Okay, what I'm going to do here is if you see here as I'm hovering kind of over these functions, right? Intertwine. Okay, I'm still on Make. Oop. Oh, let me zoom back in here. Sorry. Object, Intertwine. I'll go ahead and hit release so I can show you the proper way here, right? So Intertwine, Make. Okay, if you notice when I hover over certain sections, right, it disappears. This is going to just take away certain parts that I don't want to be visible in my text. Okay, to give it this well, again, we call this intertwine feature just to make it look like certain text is overlapping and certain text is on top of and certain text is behind. And again, this is all going to be personal preference, right? But it should kind of make sense on how your layer looks. Okay, so this is kind of what we should end up with. Again, this is super simple, but I want you to do this 2 times. All right, 2 times. I want you to do it once with your first and your last name. All right, you can then just take that. The reason I want you to lock this layer, right, is so that you can select and drag this stuff here and not worry about it. But I want you to do this twice, right? I want you to do it with your first and last name. Then I want you to do it again with anything else that you choose, okay? So once with your first and last name, once with anything else that you choose. And that is your assignment for today. Make sure that you get it done. Make sure that you're doing anything else that you're missing because some of you are failing, right? And there's not a lot that I can do to help you right now because you haven't turned in a lot of stuff. So get that done, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.